Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to a video of Football Manager 2015. And today I'm going to be showing you guys 100 of the best free players that you can get at the start of your save who are out of contract right now as of the first database update. So, firstly, huge shout out to FM Stories. I'll leave a link down to their page in the description. You'll find a download link for this shortlist here. Johnny, one of the guys who works over there, done an amazing job at coming up with 100 of the best free players. So massive shout to them on the page that I'll link. Not only is there download links for the shortlist that you can load up into your game by moving it into your shortlists folder, I'll have some tutorial instruction stuff in the description on how to actually load up the shortlist. But he's also provided a ranking system where you can see, at least in his opinion, who the best free agents are. So I really recommend you check that out, because there's going to be some here that I've missed. So there are 100 players and they're all free agents. Obviously, it's a lot of players to go through. There's some names that are going to be familiar with you. So what I decided to do was I went through this list myself and I came up with a list of, in my opinion, some of the better players in this list. The 17 here I'm going to show. Bear in mind that, you know, this is at the start of the save. They're free agents, so some of them are the wrong side of 30, but they're still useful signings in their own right. The best free agent by far this year, I think most people will agree on this in terms of his actual attributes, is Valdez. However, he is injured at the start of the game, so that is worth bearing in mind. He is out for 4 to 5 months. So he's a player who you're going to have to wait until January to get, because he's going to fail fitness tests. But with the exception of him, and that injury, I guess, he's a fantastic player, and I'd recommend you try and pick him up if you can. The other goalkeeper who I've highlighted here is Thomas Kuszczak. There's a few other good free agent goalkeepers, so I really recommend you actually take a look through the shortlist yourself. But you can see here, obviously, Kuszczak had a good career, I guess you could say, in terms of he broke into the West Brom team. Of course, he was then taken on by Manchester United, who, I don't want to say they ruined him, but they certainly didn't play him. At the end of last season, he was playing for Brighton. He walked away because I think he thought he was too good for them. He's a free agent and he's a pretty useful player. The next player is Christian Lell. He's a German player, very good fullback, good pace, pretty decent physicals considering he's 29 and a useful player nevertheless. Obviously, bear in mind with some of these players that they are not eligible for work permits. So if you're playing in England or a country that requires work permits, you may have an issue. Although, that said, a few of these players are fairly well-established internationals, players like John Mensah here, so you might be able to get a work permit based on the fact they've played games for their national team. But Mensah here, a good centre-back, probably a good championship player. The only issue really is his natural fitness lets him down, so he isn't going to be able to play too many games in rapid succession. Zilao is another player. I believe he was playing in, I want to say, Russia before? Oh, okay, Kazakhstan and Russia. But he's a Brazilian centre-back. He's quite a good player, good natural fitness, and I'm not sure about his actual wage demands, but he's actually a very useful centre-back from my own experience. Moving off the centre-backs, we have Lucas here, who's another Brazilian player. Unfortunately, work permits will be an issue, but Lucas has made 2 appearances for Brazil, but that's probably not going to hold too much weight. But you can see here, released by Botafogo at the end of this year. But nevertheless, he's kind of a useful player. They got Marco Estrada here, who I don't want to stick my neck out on the line here, but I have a feeling he may have played in the World Cup for Chile. You can see here, he actually signed for one of the rich Arab Emirates teams for 12.5 million, and he's been released since then. So he's a free agent, a useful player. Diarra's been a free agent for over a year now, but he is still very useful. We have here Achille Amana, I don't even know. Amana, we'll go with Amana. There we go, third time's a charm. A Cameroonian player, very useful, this guy. If you're in a situation where work permits aren't an issue, natural fitness of 17 and those technicals make him an incredibly useful player. So he's one I definitely recommend you give a look at. The next player we have here is Ezequiel, 23 years old, a younger player on this database. You can see here technical attributes. He's got good vision, he's got good pace. His natural fitness lets him down a little bit, but you can see he's a very useful player. He was released by, I guess it would be Betis who released him, but in FM he's still a very useful player. Another Spanish player who's a similar player in some ways is Vicente, although he hasn't quite got the legs on him that he once had, but he's still a useful little creative outlet. If you're a fan of playing a kind of old school and Garnch, I'd recommend him. Or, to be honest, if you're a fan of playing an old school and Garnch, you're probably going to want to get Pablo Aimar, who's an absolute monster, released by Darul Takzim. This guy is just amazing. He's going to be an amazing tutor. If you've got a young player, a young playmaker, and you're really looking to get him, set on the straight and narrow, get him a good personality, give him a good tutor, Amar is a very good player for that. You can see he's got preferred moves as well, which are pretty useful for tutoring. So he's a great free agent you can get. The next player, someone I missed, is actually Yassine El Ghanassi. I hope I said that right. Belgian player, actually played an international for them. He's not incredible, this guy, but he's one of the better younger players on the shortlist. He was released by Ghent even. So that's a little bit of a shame that he was released, but he's a useful player, so I recommend you pick him up if you can. Two older strikers. Here we have Innocent Megara, who's a good Swiss international. You can see he's a pretty useful poacher, good acceleration, good pace, some pretty nice finishing stats as well, which come in useful. Strakwilersi, who of course played in England not too long ago, he does not require a work permit. I believe he's Italian, secondary nationality. He is indeed. So he's a very useful player, one of the good players on here in my opinion. From my own experience, he's got good determination. He's only 26, so he's not a particularly old player, and he's a very useful target man, and his wage demands aren't too crazy. I've seen him go to a few championship teams, so maybe if you're a low-end championship, maybe even a middle-of-the-road championship team, and you need that backup striker target man, a big man to stick up, he can be quite good. Last player I'll show here is just Felipe Napolitano. We'll go with it. 19 years old, Brazilian. Unfortunately, I believe work permits are going to be an issue with this guy, but he's a very useful player nevertheless. Good young player. He's only 19, so he has plenty of time to develop. And you can see, for a poacher, he's really got a lot of the core attributes. Composure's a little bit lacking, but that can be worked on. But still a very useful player to pick up on a free transfer if you can. But anyway, guys, that's a review of this shortlist. As I mentioned, there'll be a download link down in the description. It'll actually take you to the FM story page first, and the download link is just on that page. You scroll down, you can't miss it. There's a table there, as I mentioned, showing all of the players of the 100 and giving you a bit of a review of them and a bit of a kind of feedback on their kind of expected wage demands, amongst other things. So I do recommend you check it out. Other than that, if you found this video useful, maybe there's a few players here who you reckon you can sign up on your own. So smash the like button. It does help me out. If you're new to my channel, you can subscribe for more Football Manager 2015 content. And other than that, guys, I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.